seen a white bear scream to the sun.
I'm a filmmaker. I wrote and directed this short comedy called Nature RX. Here it is.
Hi. Are you feeling tired, irritable, stressed out? Well, you might consider nature.
From the people that brought you Getting Outside comes prescription strength Nature, a non-harmful medication shown to relieve the crippling symptoms of modern life.
Nature's recommended for humans of all ages, and it's great for pets too.
Nature can reduce cynicism, meaninglessness, anal retentiveness, and murderous rage. In clinical studies, Nature is proven to decrease work-induced catatonia.
Caution. Nature may cause you to slow down, quit your job, or seriously consider what the you're doing with your life.
Do you have trouble being even mildly uncomfortable? Nature may not be right for you. Side effects may include spontaneous euphoria, taking yourself less seriously, and being in a good mood for no apparent reason.
So ask your doctor if nature is right for you.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm very happy to say Nature RX has gone viral. It has over 10 million views on Facebook and YouTube, but I think we're just getting started because I'm inspired by this idea that's been bugging me for the longest time. Does nature have a marketing problem? See, I'm concerned about what's happening to our planet, and chances are you are too. But if you have your doubts about climate change for this talk, that's okay, no problem. Because I'm a filmmaker, but I'm also a clinician, so I'm interested in our minds and what's happening in our minds when we talk about nature or climate change, and this is what I uncovered. This is your brain, normal-looking brain, and this is your brain on climate change. And whether you believe in global warming or not, this is probably what happens to all of us when we hear those words, because it's big, it's scary, it's challenging, and that's what we hear so often. Global warming is so hard, making these changes will be so hard. So here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to take an adventure deeper into our minds to understand why. Why is this issue so hard? To do this, we can boldly go where no one has gone before and look at our minds like it's an episode of Star Trek. Okay, if you're not a nerd like me, here's a quick refresh of what's important in Star Trek. There's Captain Kirk, the captain of the ship, and there's Spock, his logical sidekick. This is the big breakthrough that social science and neuroscience has uncovered. Like Spock and Kirk, we have two processing systems in our brains. One is the first system. It's intuitive, it's instinctual, it's action-oriented, just like Captain Kirk. It's informed by experience and what's going on in our bodies in the present moment. It's fast. So fast, unless you're really paying attention, most of the time you barely even notice it. It's where our emotions live, and this is the system that drives us. Then there's the second system of processing information. It's rational, it's logical, just like Spock. It's really good at looking at a problem and finding solutions. Okay, now on this episode of Star Trek, the Starship Enterprise goes back in time to 2016 to solve the problem of climate change. There's Spock looking at the data. Captain, the readings indicate current human activity is unsustainable. If we don't do something now, there will be dire results for humans and all life on the planet in the next 50 to 100 years. Now, Captain Kirk is a man of action. Just like our emotional minds, he understands this is a big problem, so he calls for red alert. That's terrible, Spock. What can we do? Captain, we need to eradicate reliance on all fossil fuels. We need to reduce consumption in all areas, and on and on. We've heard these things before. Logical Spock doesn't care that it's a huge list of things we must do. He's rational. He just keeps listing while Kirk is trying to keep up. Spock, you said this would happen in the next 50 to 100 years. Yes, Captain. But if we don't act now, there will be catastrophic consequences. No, Spock, I don't want to do that. Excuse me, Captain? No, Spock, I say we do what we always do. Let's go get some troublesome Klingons. Captain, we went back in time. There are no troublesome Klingons. Nonsense, Spock, nonsense. For God's sakes, man, there's always troublesome Klingons, and we go get them. That's what we do best. Warp speed, Mr. Sulu. And off they go at warp speed to go get troublesome Klingons. Now, what are the troublesome Klingons in our lives? They're the bills, the work, the responsibilities, the dishes, the news reports, the tasks all of us are familiar with and used to confronting. It's harder for the Kirk part of our brain, driven by instinct and emotion, to relate to something so vast, impersonal, and scientific like climate change. But that doesn't mean he isn't up to the task. This is really important. Our Kirk brains can do this. It's just that Spock, the logical reasoning part of our brain, has overwhelmed our Kirk brain. And this is what the research shows. The perception of climate change is too remote and overwhelming to create a motivating impact. It can actually just stress us out. And when we feel stressed, our minds naturally revert to what we already know and feel comfortable with. And we can see this here. In our busy, speedy world, it's easy to believe Klingons are attacking us all the time, even when they're not even there. And our logical mind begins to rationalize. It figures that's just the way life is nowadays. Our minds are still faster than the fastest supercomputer we created. We can easily miss that it's not logical Spock, but our emotional Captain Kirk minds which are actually driving the ship. And this is what makes the perception of climate change so difficult for people to engage with. It's because most of the time, we're acting and talking and looking at each other and ourselves like we're all these logical Spocks. And of course, we are like Spock. We have amazing powers of reason and deduction. But it's easy to forget, especially with climate change, that emotions are what drive us, what motivate us. So all the logical arguments in the world are rarely effective when trying to engage someone around an issue they don't already have a strong feeling about. Because whether it's solving a math problem or finding a partner, the studies show we all need that feeling like, yes, I think this is the right choice, to then move to action. So, by understanding how our minds work, we can change how we talk about our climate crisis. And it doesn't even have to be very complicated. How do we do this? We can make nature more sexy. We can make nature more fun and appealing. We can create simple and relatable messages about nature that communicate value. An explosion of research in the last 10 years has shown the incredible benefits of getting outside in nature for us humans. It boosts our immune system, it speeds up healing. Getting outside is great, both for our physical and mental well-being. Nature increases positive moods, so vital for living, like happiness and gratitude. And with our climate crisis, there's compelling research that shows time outdoors leads to more sustainable thinking and less consumption. Getting outside also vastly improves your sex life. I think even Spock would find that most intriguing. The social science and market research shows humans are more motivated by something with intrinsic value, something we see as an immediate and obvious gain. Humans are less likely to get action-oriented around something that feels like a loss. And unfortunately, that's how so many of these issues around sustainability and climate change, how they're framed. We talk about what we might be losing and not about what we could be gaining. What's intrinsic value? Well, who has kids out there? Parents know, you know, parents know they regularly sacrifice a ton of stuff for their kids, instinctively and naturally. The same can be shown with sexuality. Advertisers have known this for years. Sex sells because it speaks directly to our emotional Captain Kirk minds. Advertisers know your logic isn't making the decisions. They're trying to reach your Kirk brain the whole time, promising a certain experience. The truth is, there's not much evidence that buying their product will improve your sex life. But there is strong evidence that getting outside will. Most intriguing. There's this incredible benefit we get from nature and the outdoors. And by any measure, we're spending more and more time indoors, which the medical research shows is having a huge impact upon our bodies and minds, especially with kids. Today, prison inmates and chickens spend more time outdoors than the average American kid. It's true. That's because we have laws and regulations which find it inhumane and unhealthy for free-range chickens and general prisoners to be inside so much, while kids on average spend 7.5 hours a day in front of screens. 7.5 hours a day. I think this is the heart of our climate crisis, the way we take nature and our bodies for granted. And this is what we see. when our two systems of processing information are not working together, when our Kirk brain is busy battling Klingons all the time, even when they're not even there, you get a lot of this. We become incredible masters of achievement and terrible masters of fulfillment. We need to feel fulfilled or have the promise of fulfillment in our lives in order to give back. And whether you think humans have been around for 5,000 years or 2 million years, we all know our minds and bodies are capable of far more than this. We know our minds and bodies thrive and delight when we take a hearty break from this. It's interesting to me, maybe you've heard, did you know the most popular desktop images for our computers are overwhelmingly beautiful images in nature? In England, they now have bird songs playing in gas station bathrooms. And get this, they've found customer satisfaction has gone up by 50%. Now that's funny. We all know how unappealing gas station bathrooms are, and a little bit of nature totally changes the experience. Just imagine what more nature could do in our cities, what more nature could do in our schools. I think we have a great opportunity to reconnect humans to the true value of nature, to get people thinking about nature in ways that offer solutions to their lives and the issue of climate change at the same time. And this is what brands do so well. They speak to both the personal and universal value of something. No matter what we think about advertising or branding, we cannot overlook how effective it is. I mean, these people convince us to buy stuff we don't need every day, so it's pretty powerful. Okay, I'm gonna give you the secret sauce. The 4 basic ingredients ads use to harness the power of our minds. 1, to create personal and relatable messages, ideas that instantly connect to our lives. 2, ads introduce ideas in novel and unexpected ways to capture our interest and empower us to try something new. This is where humor becomes really powerful, because humor is all about creating fun, surprising, new ways of looking at something. 3, ads invite us to join the party or movement. We all have a need to feel connected, to belong. Ads create a place where we want to be part of something that's already happening, something we don't want to miss out on. 4, ads emphasize value. Effective ads connect with our Kirk brains, the instincts and emotions that drive us. With these 4 basic ingredients, watching commercials becomes way more entertaining, especially drug commercials. Do you know how many drug commercials take place outdoors? A lot of them. You probably know what I'm talking about. The Cialis commercial with a couple in the 2 bathtubs outside? Why are they outside? Brands know. Brands know the true value we have for nature. Of course they associate the happiness, connection, and freedom we get from nature with their products. So I think it's easy, not hard. I think it's easy to harness the power of our minds when it comes to nature. And with our climate crisis, we have a great chance to change the story about humans and nature. We're at TEDx with enough amazing and talented people in this room to change the world. Whether it's around the campfire, in a blog, or a commercial, you will discover the story that needs to be shared with the rest of us when you get out there. And this is by no means a new idea. No. In fact, it's the oldest story we've ever told. From cave paintings to Star Wars, getting outside, reconnecting to nature is the original hero's journey. It's where you leave your everyday world of mechanical autopilot mode and you rediscover who you really are. And you don't even need a fancy Yoda backpack to do this. You don't. Out there, each of you naturally has a story inside of you. Each of you has your own unique connection to nature, just waiting to be discovered and shared with the rest of us. But don't take my word for it. Ask your doctor if nature's right for you. No, I'm not done. Discover yourself. Discover yourself, where nature naturally and instinctually wants to show up more in your life. We can create fun, personal, empowering messages about the true value we have for nature in ways that arouse our courage and motivate us for the journey ahead. Something we don't want to miss out on. Ladies and gentlemen, may the forest be with you.
I know you're busy, but don't fool yourself. You need nature.
Side effects may include getting off your ass, a genuine care for yourself, other people, and the world we live in. being more pleasant to be around, confidence, authenticity, and honesty.
Ask your doctor if nature's right for you.
Nature is inexpensive, easily accessible, and available to you now.
Thank you. Get outdoors. Enjoy yourself. Thank you.